Hey guys, it's Penguin here and welcome back to another gold making video. In today's video, we are going to be talking all about crafted gear in patch 10.1 or season 2. We will be talking about everything you need to know about the season 2 process of crafting new gear, all of the new optional reagent slots, and all of the different options you have this time around, how to actually get and use these items, along with some item level differences, and also some tips for all the crafters out there. So whether you are a crafter or somebody who is just looking for some new crafted gear, you should feel confident with this new system and know what you need to do going into the new season. So without further ado, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching. Leaving a like or even subscribing would be amazing, and let's get right into this. And so diving right in, we have the main powerhouse or main brain of all Season 2 gear, and this is the brand new Spark. Like the name suggests, this is just a simple replacement of the current Spark, which is the Spark of Ingenuity, and this is called the Spark of Shadow Flame. It works the same way as the old Spark, simply just new with higher item levels. Also, just this week, we got a little bit more information on actually how to get these new Sparks, and it's looking like another 2-week time gate. Now currently, it's not exactly working on PTR, so take this with a grain of salt, but basically you need 2 splintered Sparks to make yourself a full one. The new tooltip of the Splintered Spark shows us that you will get 1 Splintered Spark every single week by either completing the weekly Renown meta quest for the Niffin or doing your weekly PvP quest. So if we get 1 Splintered per week, that means we need 2 weeks worth to make a full Spark. So just a heads up, this could change, but there we go. In terms of item level, keep in mind this is still just the basic level, so nothing too exciting. It starts out at item level 411, and a quality 5 will reach 424. Now, one of the big questions that I always get asked is, okay Penguin, do you have to craft a brand new piece of armor, or can I simply just recraft my existing ones? And the answer is that you can of course simply recraft. So if you are somebody who currently has a Season 1 Lariat, in the recrafting menu you can just choose to replace that old Spark with the new one, and then you're good to go. Of course, if you don't have a piece already crafted, you can simply just craft it the standard way as well. This is also a perfect time to mention that Primal Chaos is completely gone from the game. It has turned into a legacy item, so if you are going to recraft your gear or craft a new piece, you will see that that item is no longer a requirement, and it will turn into a vendor item if you have any extra laying around. Now, if you are somebody recrafting your piece of gear, you only have to worry about one thing, and that is your sockets. Things like embellishments and missives will stay with your piece of gear, but if you have any sockets that were added by that Season 1 Storm Charge Manipulator, those will be removed, so just proceed with caution. To give you guys an example in game, currently I am on a blacksmith, and let's say I want to recraft my Season 1 shoulders. Right here, as you guys can see, I have a Spark of Ingenuity, and I currently have an embellishment on this piece of gear. All I would have to do is just click Replace, choose a Spark of Shadow Flame. It will give me a warning saying, hey, your other Spark will be destroyed. Just say OK, and then hit Recraft. Just wait a second, and boom, there we go. We crafted a quality 5, so it's item level 424, and now we're good to go. Continuing on with the theme of direct replacements and item level increases, we have to talk about the 2 new Enchanted Crest, which are the Worms and Aspects Enchanted Crest. Now, many of you, if you have seen my other videos or have just been keeping up with the PTR, there are technically 3 crest or 4 new infusions, but 2 of them only are used in rare gear, so we're not talking about them here. We're simply just talking about the best epic quality crafts. So with that being said, the Worms and Aspects Crest are the direct replacement of the current Primal infusion, as well as the concentrated Primal infusion. Now, despite them being a direct replacement, there is a little bit of a difference in terms of actually getting them. Basically, these enchanted crests are created by a handful of crafting materials, but you also need non-enchanted crest, which must be collected through a various amount of activities. These non-enchanted versions are very similar to the Primal Focus or Foci that you had to pick up in Season 1. So in terms of the Worm's Crest, you will have to either complete heroic raids or complete Mythic Plus dungeons between +11s and +15s, and for the best in slot version, which is the Aspects Crest, you will either have to do +16s and above, or Mythic raids. Then once again, right here, this is a big gold making opportunity, so crafters listen up, but players will actually need an enchanter to turn their non-enchanted crest into the final usable version. So unlike before where the players would just right-click the focus in their inventory and it would make the primal infusion, crafters actually have to be there to make it for them. So players will be placing work orders to enchanters, meaning enchanters, this could be a great way to make some gold. But once you have your hands on one of these upgrades, you can just treat it like normal, so you can either recraft it onto an existing piece of gear or use it in a completely new craft. And so if we want to show this off in game, now I apologize, I don't have the actual item to show this off fully, but if we go here, and we click on that piece we just recrafted earlier, we have the option to infuse with power, and you have the Enchanted Worm's Crest right here, as well as the higher level version. Now, the basic version or the heroic tier version will bring that item level from 424 all the way up to 437, and the best in slot version, that mythic version, will bring the item level all the way up to 447. To put that in perspective, players can expect item level 447 normal gear from the Great Vault after they complete +20s, so this is definitely a very high item level. And this brings us yet again to another big moment for the crafters, so players hang out for just 1 second, but crafters, I'm speaking to you. Many people ask, okay, as a crafter, do I need to prepare for these new crafts? Do I need to increase my skill? And the answer is no. Because we are simply just replacing previous materials and previous reagents, the skill required remains the same. For example, if we hover over these right here again, as you can see, the standard Primal Infusion requires +30 or adds +30 recipe difficulty. And if we go over to that, first crest, it also adds +30. Same thing with the second one, that is +50, yet again, +50. So that means whatever you can do currently with Season 1 gear, whether it's guaranteeing quality 5, guaranteeing quality 4, whatever it is, that will be the exact same thing with all of these new items. So crafters, don't stress about having to deal with even higher skill requirements, you will still be required the same amount. Then moving on, I'm not going to talk about this much because there's nothing particularly new in 10.1, but of course remember you can attach your missives and you can attach your embellishments just like before. Looking at this piece of gear right here, I could add a missive to make sure I guarantee a specific stat if I really wanted to, and I already have an embellishment, but I could remove it if I wanted or change it out for something different. Now, there are a handful of new embellishments, I'll put them on screen, so that is something you might want to look forward to, but in terms of adding them or removing them, everything stays the same. Now, the last major thing I want to talk about is for all of the PvPers out there, so listen up. And this is the brand new PvP optional reagent slot for all of your epic gear. This slot is something that we haven't seen before, and like I said, it's available for all of your epic pieces of crafts, meaning all of the pre-embellished crafts, something like the Elemental Lariat, along with your basic crafts, meaning you can add your own embellishment to your piece. Now, in terms of what this slot actually does, is super simple. Basically, it just adds the ability that your item level increases whenever you are in arenas or battlegrounds, so it just makes your items stronger in PvP situations. Now, there are 2 versions of this special reagent, we'll talk about it in just 1 second, but the lesser quality version will increase your item level to 437, and the higher tier will increase your item level to 450. The lesser versions are called Crest of Honor, and the higher quality versions are called Trophies of Conquest. Now, there are 3 different types of each, and they all correspond to the slot they can be used on. Now, in terms of how to obtain any of these, it's simply just purchased from your respective PvP vendor for either Honors for the Crest of Honors or Conquest for the Trophies of Conquest. So I will have the little table on screen, but for example, if I wanted to add that PvP ability to my existing shoulders, I would have to purchase the normal Crest of Honor, which would cost me 700 Honor, or of course the upgraded Conquest version for 700 Conquest. Let's say I wanted to do that same thing, but it was for a necklace instead, like the Lariat. It would only cost me 525, and I would buy the lesser versions. And so to just once again show you this in game, right here we're staring at an Elemental Lariat, and it is actually a Season 1 Elemental Lariat, and you can tell that by the Spark of Ingenuity right here. Now, despite this being a Season 1 piece of gear, we do see the ability to add an optional reagent for the PvP item level, but if we hover over this, it will give you a little notice that says, hey, it requires Spark of Shadowflame. So this is a new addition. It will say exactly what you need. So in this case, if we wanted to actually use one of these optional reagents, we would of course have to recraft this into a Season 2 armor piece. Then here we go, that requirement is no longer red, and then of course if we had one of these in our inventory, we would simply just attach it and recraft. And so once again, this applies to already pre-embellished armors, just like this, or if we go back over to those shoulders we were showing off earlier, right here we can also add in one of those PvP items. Meaning PvPers will have the opportunity to create their own customized PvP armor based on the embellishments that they want. This is really cool because there are 2 new PvP focused embellishments, so we might see some new markets and new items in demand in 10.1. And yeah guys, that is really it. This is just a quick rundown of all of the changes in patch 10.1 and exactly how to deal with them in Season 2. Just to quickly recap, remember the Spark of Shadowflame, the brand new Spark in Season 2, is really the mastermind behind everything. If you don't have a Spark, you're not going to be able to use the new Crest or anything like that. Then, of course, you're going to want to get those Enchanted Crest, either the Worms or Aspects, to make sure you have the highest item level possible. So get out there, do your Heroics, get out there, do your Mythics, or your high-end Mythic Plus. Then remember, you will have to order from an enchanter, so enchanters, get out there, get that recipe, and start making those crafted orders. Then, of course, feel free to apply any sort of embellishments you want, any sort of extra stats, etc., and think about potentially adding in a PvP optional item if you want to increase your item level in arenas and battlegrounds. But yeah guys, that is about it for all of the changes. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, or if you have any additional thoughts on the system, I would love to hear about it as well. But everybody, thank you guys so much for making it this far in the video. Let me know if you did, and as always, have a good day.